So I stayed home that summer, and I just worked like 2-3 times a week on industrial films. I made 1 million of them, you know. I did one, I worked so much, I remember I made one, I'll never forget this one. On some Wednesday, I worked for General Motors on an industrial film explaining how shitty the United Auto Workers were. And not to basically don't trust those snake-eyed bastards. And then on Friday, I made one for the United Auto Workers explaining how shitty GM was to them and how not to trust those snake-eyed bastards.
Please give it up for Mr. Ted Raimi. You can do better than that. First Q&A of the day. Give it up. Yes.
Sit down.
All right. Grab a microphone. Let's hang out.
Light. It's like a
I can get you a heavier
target.
one. It's real, honest.
Okay, how's everybody doing? Good. Are you having a good time like in all the, 40 minutes this convention has been going on? You know, you're at a great advantaged position, and that's not because I'm up here. I'm going to waste your time horrifically, but you're in an advantaged position because you all still have most of the money you came with. Who said that? You did. Okay, why? What did you spend it on? Did you just go to like the first vendor you saw and then handed them your wallet and said, give me everything? What happened? And that was all of your money? Do you have enough to pay your rent? So go on, brag some more, why don't you? How's your Mercedes? Is that looking good, or did you forget to wash it today or something like that? Good job. Okay. All right. Okay. She goes, that's because I own the goddamn company. Why else would I drive? It's free. So raise your hand if you're here to get celebrity autographs. Yeah, like half of you. The rest of you guys are like, I don't really give a shit about autographs. I don't really care. Okay, for those who didn't raise their hands, tell me, why are you here? Raise your hand if you did not raise your hand before. Yes, miss.
Okay, we have a guy with Kyle. He's got a microphone. He's going to come out. So this way. Go, Kyle, go, Kyle. There we go.
Okay, that's Kyle. Great. Thank you, Kyle. Great. Thank you. Yes.
Honestly, because it's been so long since I've seen you, I just wanted to catch up on what you've been doing.
Oh, nice. How nice. What's your name, dear?
Danielle.
Danielle, it's so nice. Well, hold on. So let Danielle have quit taking the mic away from Danielle. God, this guy's like, give me that mic back. Jeez, what do you think she can do? All right. So, Danielle, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good, because I figure if you're going to catch up with me, I want to catch up with you. What did you do today?
Had breakfast.
What'd you eat?
Eggs and French toast.
All right. Good. We're all caught up now.
Yes, we are.
We're good. So I'm here for this rather short time this time to answer any questions you guys might have. God, that Xena thing really brought back some fucking memories of it. Jesus. All right. You know, it's like, literally 30 years later, TV shows, movies, video games, they play that.
It's a great clip.
Okay. Who has a question for me? Does anybody have? I'm sorry. Did you want to do your schmooze?
No. You do your thing, and I'll punch in whenever you need me.
All right, great. So who's got questions? None. Okay, let's get the hell out of here.
No, there we go. Right down the middle.
Sir.
Right down there. We got some.
Yes. Look at him. He's really moving around fast. This guy's like lightning.
How you doing? Welcome back.
Thank you.
Last time I met you was when we had the Pittsburgh Comic-Con over at the other building.
Oh.
I have a picture that I will show you later.
Damn. No, I don't want to see it. It probably going to look like 20 years younger. I don't want to look at that. Shit. It was depressing. But I believe you.
Yeah, my question is, how much rehearsal of singing did you have to do for Xena? 'Cause I know you had some musical episodes. Did you practice a lot, or were you singing to something that you already did and they said, oh, I can sing,
You mean, did I already know the songs before I rehearsed them?
Were you a singer, were you a singer doing before you got the show?
No, but I could do some singing, I'm old school, right? I'm in an old school actor like myself. You're expected to sing a little bit, dance a little bit, and mostly act. That's kind of the bag, Now they don't do that. They don't stage train and stuff. I mean, that's for better and for worse, whatever. I'm not judging, but it's just kind of the way things are. So if any actor, I'm kind of the last generation of that, that kind of knows a little bit of doing those things. So yeah, so a little bit I could do. Yeah. Yes. Anybody else? How's everyone doing? Is everyone having a good time? Hey, I know you guys. I just saw you. Is everyone having a good time so far? Or yes, buddy. What can I do for you? Yes, you're just having a good time. You have no question.
You have
just
no
saying
questions.
yes. All right.
Okay,
all
good.
right,
We have a
sounds
microphone
good.
coming up to you.
You're looking very kind of Pittsburgh cash there. I'm liking it.
I've got a presentation
I like it a
to
lot.
do in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, hey, so are you from Michigan?
Sure am. Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to, you mean college?
Yeah.
All over the friggin' place. Every place I got kicked out of, I went to a new one.
Yeah, I just wondered if
That's
you
how it
were a
works.
Michigan
I went all
Stater
over the
or-
place. Well, yeah, I went to school at, oh God, where did I go? First of all, I almost flunked out of high school. Anybody here almost flunked out of high school? They're like, no, you're the only idiot in the room, Ted. You did. You almost flunked out of high school. Really? Why'd you flunk out of high school? No.
I didn't go a lot, so.
That'll do it. That'll do it. I was just sort of more interested in doing everything else, so I didn't really study. And then so I went to a community college. It was called Oakland Community College, which we called One Chance College, because it really was the only chance left. From there, Michigan State, which was like kind of hell. Everyone was like drinking beer. I hate beer. I drink booze, and that wasn't the place to drink booze, I guess. So I'm not saying I'm not a lover of alcohol. I'm just saying I don't drink beer. That's all. And then after that, I went to, where did I go? New York University. That was ridiculous. Don't go to New York University. Anybody here want to be an actor? Good. Don't. Great. That's a big relief. Go to sleep knowing that no one's life is going to be destroyed at some point. And then from there, I went to the University of Detroit, which is where I got all the good theater knowledge I ever got in my life. And I credit that school with giving me the career that I did, because I would have never been able to do what I have done without a solid background in doing that, Because what they would do at the University of Detroit, like what they wouldn't do at other schools are like this. Hi, I want to audition for this play. Okay, so are you a graduate student? Well, no, but I think bye, thanks. It's all very hierarchical. And in the real world, as we all know, it doesn't work like that. School is just setting you up for failure in that regard. But UAD, they would force you to audition with professionals. So you're paying stupid amounts of money to go to the school, but you're losing parts to pros. And what does that make you do? You get better, or you don't get parts. And that's what the world was like. So it was awesome. That's what I did. All right. Who else? Anybody have a question? Yes.
Far on the far end.
Look at this guy, man. He's like,
He's on fire.
God.
He's going to be 12
I
pounds
wish,
by the time we're done.
if he was a barista, I'd tip him $50 because they're so fast. Yes.
Coffee.
Ted, we just saw a lot of pratfalls you did in Xena, and of course making Evil Dead 2 with your brother. Have you ever been injured making a film or a movie?
Yes, of course I have. All the time. But, I like throwing myself around. I like doing stunt work. Whatever the stunt guys will let me do, I like to do it. Some actors are kind of wired that way. Some are not. It's just like anybody, Some people like to do sports. I don't like sports at all. I don't like any of them, except boxing. I think it's cool. But I do like to take tumbles and do hits and stuff, and anything the stunt guys will let me do, I'll do, I still do it. It's crazy. Like I just, I remember just a couple of years ago, I was making a video game called The Quarry for Supermassive Games. And there's a lot of stuff in there where my character, who's this cop, gets beaten up and, attacked by werewolves and all kinds of stuff. And I wanted to do a bunch of that stuff. And they were like, no. I'm like, why? Because we need you for tomorrow. And, we don't want you in the hospital. So, yeah, they don't let you. But, yeah, I like doing that kind of stuff. Who else?
I
Anybody?
do. Me?
Yes, you. No, we don't care about you.
All right.
No, yes,
All right,
please, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you about the whole thing with the fake Shemp. Did that come about, that term, from you or your brother, and obviously based on Shemp Howard of the Three Stooges? And did you kind of put any Shemp into your Joxer character? I saw a couple good,
Okay, well, first of all, let's define that sucker. That is a term, for those who don't know, that was just seen on a credit roll during some of the Evil Dead movies and other films that Renaissance Pictures has made. And what that is we used to jokingly, we all of us live, this mic sucks.
No, it's good. What?
Okay, it's sort of weirdly solved. Okay, so we watch a lot of Three Stooges. We love them. But as you watch chronologically, as you do when you're a big nerd, watching the Three Stooges, like, who the hell watches the Three Stooges chronologically? It makes no sense at all. But we would. And then as Shemp got older, he would have to be doubled because he just got too old to do his own stunts. And that double was the worst double in the world. Like, it was hilarious to watch. He would just cover his face like this as he ran into walls. I mean, it's just absolutely dreadful. So we would call people that are just, the guys that would help out in a kind manner, fake Shemps, because they weren't the real ones. Talented, but not all maybe there. So that's where that came from, yeah. And what is there? I don't know what you mean by, is there any of that? I thought I was all there in Xena, but, I don't know. I mean, actually, no, it wasn't really. I mean, my mind was back in Los Angeles. Show. I don't think I was quite all there, but I had a nice time making that show. Lucy Lawless and Renee O'Connor are awesome. They're just awesome people and incredibly talented actors, so that made it all kind of nice and easy. Yeah. Anything else?
A couple more, if you don't mind.
No.
You started out as a DJ, right?
No, I had a job briefly at a radio station as a DJ. I don't know where that kind of got around, but
Well, what kind of thing did you do?
I worked for this local radio station doing stuff, and they allowed me on the air for like 10 minutes. They were like, thanks, bye. And it didn't really work out so well.
So, on air, somewhat personality.
Yeah, good way to put it. More like quick fire is more like the way I would put it. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. I was going to ask, what about your upbringing that brought you and your brothers into the film industry?
Well, I can't speak for my brother, but I came to acting obliquely, and what I mean to say is, if you would put any other of these very fine and talented actors who are here today up here, they would tell you, most of them anyway, they had a bug. I had to do it. Right? I didn't care what anyone said. I had to do it. I really didn't have that when I started at all. I'm from Detroit. It's very much like Pittsburgh. You do what you think you can make a living at, right? That's what we do, and where we live in this part of the world. And so I had shitty jobs when I was a kid. When I was 17 and 16, I was a dishwasher. I was a busboy. I was a golf caddy, and I wouldn't wish that last job on my worst fucking enemy. It was what a nightmare that was. You get these guys. I never forget, every day in the middle of Michigan boiling summers, these guys with they got the guts out to here, a little cigar in their mouth, hair all slicked back. God damn it, kid, move that fucking tea or I'll fucking lay you out with it. Like all day. That was just 30 cents for a tip. Guy still thinks he's living in 1930, like they tip me like $50 or something. Don't spend it all in one place. Yeah, I'll try and buy not 1/10 of a Snickers bar with that. Thanks. So that sucked. Anyway, then I had another kind of crappy job as a production assistant for this local filmmaking company, just by chance. It just kind of moved around from one. Because when you're directionless, that's what happens to you. You move from these kind of crappy jobs. And the next stop for me was prison, if I hadn't been careful. So I'm working, sweeping floors, driving, picking up stuff. And some guy who was another production assistant said, you ought to audition for one of these things because you're pretty goofy and weird. I was like, thanks. Okay. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, I don't know how to be an actor because I'm like a 17-year-old kid. I'm not really sure. And I'd done a few plays, but I was like, all right. So I went in and I read for this industrial film. And incidentally, you guys know what an industrial film is? Yeah. So for those who don't, they're movies, in-house movies made for that company. So like how to fold shirts if you work at the Gap, right? You know, how to take tickets if you work here at Pittsburgh Comic Con, stuff like that. So Detroit, an industrial town just like this is, has a million of them, you know, Ford, GM, Chrysler. So when I read and I got the part. And I had the job that next Wednesday, so I go in, I do the bit. It was the easiest thing to do. I had a great time doing it. The day ended at 1 o'clock for me. I was like, what? I was driving home at 1:30. I was like, well, okay, whatever. So that was kind of interesting, ridiculous. And then I got a check 2 days later, and that was worth 3 weeks of washing dishes. And I'm like, welp, I guess I found the thing I'm doing. And it was just like that. So I stayed home that summer, and I just worked like 2-3 times a week on industrial films. I made $1 million of them, you know. I did one, I worked so much, I remember I made one, I'll never forget this one. On some Wednesday, I worked for General Motors on an industrial film explaining how shitty the United Auto Workers were. How not to basically don't trust those snake-eyed bastards. And then on Friday, I made one for the United Auto Workers explaining how shitty GM was to them and how not to trust those snake-eyed bastards. It was awesome. Like, I was a true whore. I just couldn't care less. Whoever paid me, I was like, this is a great job, man. Doesn't matter what side you're on. No, everybody will forgive you. So it was great, you know, and I just kind of went on from there. So it was a completely practical, and I didn't wind up loving acting until I was probably 23 or 24, like about 5 years later. You know, I was just making a living at it, doing fine. And then I was like, all right, I guess I better go to school for this stuff. You know, refine myself.
So what was the first thing outside of the industrial thing that you said, this is really for me? After all the industrial stuff, the one thing that bit you?
It's a good question. I did a feature movie, I've only starred in 3 movies in my entire life, but you know, most of the time I'm a character actor, of course. So I did a feature film called Lunatics: A Love Story, starring me and Deborah Foreman, who I suppose is most famous for a movie called Valley Girl. Those of you who may know classic films, she's the star of that. So Deborah and I were in this movie together, where I'm this agoraphobic who doesn't go outside. And showing mental illness back in 1991 was very unusual. Now, of course, it's quite common, and in fact, you shouldn't make fun of it, but we were almost making fun of him. He gets a random phone call from a girl who dialed the wrong number, which happened in those days before cell phones. And she says, "Oh, you know, I'm in Los Angeles, and I thought I was calling this person." But Hank, this character, is so excited to get a call from anybody because he hasn't spoken to another person in months. He invites her over, and this starts a romance. And she's crazier than he is. So it's kind of like it's kind of a nice theme that there's someone for you in this world. That's kind of nice. That one did it. I think I was like, yeah, I really love this.
So can I ask a bit about Evil Dead?
Sure, ask away.
Was it as much fun to make as it was for us to watch?
No. It's fucking difficult as hell. But, you know, the expression that is true that I've heard is easy to make, hard to watch. How many DVD extras have we all seen of a movie that's kind of shitty, you know, that the actors go, I just don't get it. We were having such a great time. I don't know why this isn't selling. I mean, we were laughing the whole time. Yeah, dumb fuck. That's why it sucks. Right? You do that with anything you do that is going to reek and be bad. So yeah, you have now, if you have a really difficult time making it, doesn't mean it's going to be good, but it certainly won't if you're having a good time. So no, it was difficult to make, but very fortunately, you know, kind of the gods do come together and kind of, you know, give you some good luck sometimes, and they all turned out quite well, I thought.
Was there much of a premiere for that in theaters when that came out? It just kind of snuck out there.
Remember, dude, I was 12. Are you kidding me? How much you might as well ask me about what bubblegum I chewed.
What bubblegum do you chew?
Bazooka.
Good answer.
My favorite. I buy it by the bucket. I'm that guy. You ever wonder who buys the buckets like at Costco? That's me. Oh, God. Okay. Yes. Anybody else? Sir.
Question over there. No, right
Miss.
there.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of the Quarry. I was
thank
just wondering how it was different from regular acting, if it was more difficult, what your experience was.
That's a really good
with
question.
that
So,
kind of
so for
thing.
those who don't know, The Quarry is a horror video game produced by Supermassive Games in London, England, and it's part of what they call their Dark Pictures series, and they all look rather similar and spooky. And that particular one was co-written and directed by Will Biles, who's an excellent director. Looked gorgeous. And in answer to your question, so I'm a police officer in that one as a cop. And now I've totally forgotten your question. What does it have been yammering on for so long? What do you want to know?
How was the experience of doing the like facial stuff different than regular acting?
Yes, sorry. So that was shot in motion capture, which means that you are basically fed into a computer. All your body motions, your face. Every superhero movie you've seen with the bad guy has been done this way. Although in this case it's different because it's actually me. They're not transmorphing me into any other creature. It's just me. So that was unusual. The other thing was because the environment is put after you do the acting, there's no props, there's no set pieces, there's no camera department. And so there's no dollies, grips, gaffers, lighting people, electricians. There's just you and the director and the other actors. And because of that, it feels like this intimate New York black box theater vibe as an actor. You know, you really do feel like it's just, you're rehearsing. And because of that, we really kind of felt free to do some crazy stuff. You know, like it just felt like a rehearsal for a play. And partly I think that's why that acting, if I may say, turned out quite well. Not only mine, I was very blessed that I think that performance turned out well, but that my co-stars, you know, Siobhan Williams, Skylar Gazondo, and Lynn Shay, and Lance Henriksen, you know, I think we all jived really well because of that. So yeah, different because of that. Anybody else? Yes, you with the dangerous bloody staff. I love this guy. Look at this psycho.
We'll get you next. We'll get him next.
Oh, all right. Oh, yes.
When you worked on Xena, do you have any like specific scenes that were your favorite to shoot?
I just don't remember, man. Like 30 years ago. I don't know. I mean, I remember lunch. Lunch is my favorite part of the day. It's also my favorite word on set. People call lunch. I'm like, what? I'm like a dog. Like, where? What? And that's because, you know, I was broke for so long, you know, I couldn't believe they gave us free food. Which is standard for actors, and they love free food.
What about?
Don't let an actor into your home. They're not going to steal anything valuable like watches, but if you leave an actor alone in your home, your fridge will be emptied out. I swear, it's like, don't do it. It's like having a Rottweiler and leaving your fridge door open. I was like, now. I'm sorry, go on.
What about working with Lucy or Renee?
I loved working with them. They were both great. They were breaths of fresh air because neither one of them was a big major star yet. And so it was wonderful to work with them. They had no illusions. They were all about the acting, and they were very lovely people to work with. One other thing about working on that show I do remember is we were the number at that time for like almost 6 solid years. We were the #1 syndicated show in America. We were on NBC and USA Network, but they didn't play it in New Zealand yet. It didn't get there. So if I would go back to LA, I'd be like, ooh, you know. But that was like for 5 minutes. And then I go back to New Zealand. They're like, you know, I don't know who you are, mate. Yeah, you want a burger or not, mate? You know, they don't really care. So that was kind of refreshing. And in that, because of that, none of us ever felt like we had a hit show. None of us did. So we would all work our asses off, I think. I mean, of course, I cannot speak for Lucy or Renee, but I know I would work my ass off because I'd be like, shit, I hope somebody likes this. It was like you're doing a pilot every single time. You don't know if the show's going to go, which wasn't true. This was year 5. I'd already done whatever, 55, 60 episodes, and still had the vibe of, I hope people like it because no one knows about the show, you know. So I think that gave it a lot more energy as typically as shows progress, the actors get more complacent. It's like a cat. You just keep feeding it. It'll just keep eating and be like, hey, kitty, I brought you food. I don't fucking care. You know, cats just don't give a crap because you just feed them so much. But you have a cat that's starving. Its eyes are like this. Its tail's wagging. It wants to, you know, something like that. Yeah. Sorry, I've got to go with the microphone. Sorry, bloody. Let's stand up for a second, man. What the hell? That's awesome. Did you just like spear a deer? Like, what's going on over there?
Yeah, I hit a deer on the way up here, so I had to take care of it. Good thing is, though, I'm going to have meat throughout the whole winter.
Yeah, man. The question is, good job. Did you take care of the head, or just did you get the good flank?
You know, I got it right in the neck, so it was just perfect. The whole rest of the body's in good condition.
Well done. I love this guy. Okay. Yes.
So I'm a filmmaker myself.
All right.
Just breaking out into the industry.
All right.
I love trading stories with people. So
all right.
My question for you is,
sir,
do you remember your longest day on set and what production it was?
That's a good question. Yeah, I do. I was the longest day I ever spent on set. I did a 30-hour day. I did a 30-hour day. So, and I remember, so when you are doing television, Saturdays and Sundays are almost exclusively not work days. Because of that, and because of the schedules, and because there's whole new casts and crews coming for the next episode, which frequently happen on a Monday, and TV shows are often 10 days to shoot, the last Friday, they have to get everything in or they just don't get that episode. So they'll sometimes go to midnight or 1, right? And when it goes past midnight, we call that in the business Fratterday, which is another word for your weekend's fucked. Friday into Saturday. So this time I worked from like 7 a.m., I remember, on a Friday to it was something like noon on Saturday. I didn't even know what I was doing there at like 11 a.m. the next day. No idea. I don't even think I remember it. I was like, where, what, you know, I mean, how many cups of espresso can you have, you know? So, yeah, the longest day. Good question. And what about you as a filmmaker? What's your longest day?
So the longest day I think I had on set, if you can count it, because it was for a contest.
It was uncountable? It was that long? It's like, I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm very picky with how I count things, but it was for a 48-hour film fest. So we were...
Cool.
I was up for most of those 2 days. I got a short little nap in there. But
what was your movie about? How long was it?
So it was a little over 6 minutes. It was
That's a lot to shoot in just a few hours.
It was, but it was. I'm a little bit of a sadist, so I love being on a difficult film set.
I'll say you are. Jesus, buddy. You hit yourself when you got home from the shoot, did you just hit yourself with a pan a few times?
Yeah, just a couple times.
Is that the kind of guy you are?
You know? So I think the longest time on that was probably close to 30 hours just on set or getting things together and then actually shooting.
Jesus Christ, your crew must have hated you.
Oh, no, we were all good pals. So we didn't hate each other too much.
Were.
Well, let's just say not all of us made it out of there alive.
Good man. Good stuff. Yes, sorry. Sir, can we do him?
Yeah,
this guy over here with the cap. I like the goatee and the cap.
Thank you.
Oh, you look very good, monsieur.
Oui, oui. So I'm a longtime Evil Dead fan.
All right.
Longtime horror fan in general.
Yeah.
And I may be wrong on my count, but you have been a Deadite, give or take, 4 times.
Shit, I don't know, man.
I think, including a video game, I think it's 4 times.
Okay.
With the new Evil Dead's coming out and the new brands of horror, are we going to see another Ted Raimi return?
Oh, who the hell knows? I don't know. I hope so, but I have no idea. You know,
see a fifth Deadite?
It depends on a couple of things. If they feel like it. And then if they do, if, I think they're still thinking that they're going to probably pay me the fee they paid me 20 years ago. And if that's the case, then probably not. So, yeah, it just depends. But I love the franchise. Yes, who else?
Actually, we got one back here.
Back there.
Where's back? I don't even see you, dude. Where are
I
you?
just was wondering when you were talking about
There you
those days when you film 6 minutes a day. When you television, wouldn't that be your normal output?
I'm sorry, the mic sucked so bad that I couldn't hear you.
Please.
Wouldn't 6 minutes in a day be about your normal output?
Oh, good question. You mean for shooting?
Yeah.
That's a really good question. 6 minutes in a day. Well, normal, it's a good question. Normal depends on your budget. So normal depends on your budget. That means if you are shooting, like if I'm in Spider-Man 2, right, when I was shooting Spider-Man 2, 6 minutes is an absurd amount. They would never get that. So in a movie with that kind of a budget, they're probably getting a half or up to minimum a half, but no more than 2 pages a day. That's a lot, probably more like a page a day. On a television show, if it's a drama, like whatever, if you're watching TV and you're watching whatever, The Rookie or whatever you like to watch, I don't know. If it's just drama, like actors going, now look, Inspector, we got a body over here. I'll take care of it. No, you can't because you're too good looking and you can't take care of it. But you, Janice, I want you to take care of it. I'm a rookie too, but it doesn't matter. I want you on the scene. So that stuff is probably like 8 or 9 pages a day because it's just dialogue, just actors standing in semicircles talking. Nothing there's anything wrong with that. Lord only knows if you're an actor in one of those, it buys you a fucking house. But that's that. Now, if you're all the way to the low budget end where like your movie costs under $1 million, you better pray you're getting at least 6 pages a day. Yeah. So yeah, just depends. Yeah.
Well, then this leads me to my question about your latest film, Failure. Now, that was shot in one 90-minute take. Am I right with that?
That's correct,
And so let's talk about how challenging that was. And was Alfred Hitchcock's Rope inspiration for that? Because that was also a single take.
It was. So that, now, Rope, well, first of all, you're close, but like Rope is technically 4 shots, maybe even 5. But it's meant to look like one. So camera skillfully in that movie and in other ones that you may think, like Christopher Nolan is a very famous example, modern example of that. It's really not one single take. If you notice, the camera may skillfully move into black and then move out of black, and there's a hidden cut in there, et cetera, et cetera. But in this particular instance, it's really done in one take. So we would start at page 1, and it's about a minute a page roughly, and go to page 93. And if we goofed, we'd have to go back to page 1. So that was challenging. So yeah, it was quite difficult. But what it does for the audience is it gives the audience a sense of real-time drama that one can only usually get in a play. Right? When you're watching a play, it might suck and be boring, which it usually is. As Milton Berle said, nothing lasts forever except a bad play. But this case, you're watching this actor and you understand that they're not cutting, and you sort of get the sense of, well, if this guy messes up, if a line gets thrown, if an actor does something wrong, if a prop doesn't get picked up, I'm going to see it. And you do. You do. And we all kind of would fuck up from time to time, as you do during an hour and a half. No play you have ever seen doesn't have a mess up. But of course we did. But you have to kind of get good about kind of getting yourself out of there. And my theater training was the thing that saved me.
How many takes did it take?
We did that 7 times till we got it right. 7 takes, but we rehearsed for 4 days beforehand. That's a really fast. So just to let you know, a play is rehearsed over a period of 3 or 4 weeks if it's an hour and a half. We got 3 or 4 days. So it was pretty hectic. Yeah. Like what? Yeah. Sometimes, yep. Yep. She said some actors in Pittsburgh only get a week. You guys are tough. Not as tough as we Michigan or LA people are, but it's pretty cool. Good on you. Yes. Anyone else? What about this fine fellow over here? Yes.
Thank you. I'm a really huge fan of Darkman, and
Thank you.
I really liked your part in that.
Thank you.
Know, all of that, and I was just wondering if you had any stories from that. That's one, and I've heard. I don't know if you or your brother have said it, but I know Liam Neeson said like when superhero, when Marvel, Spider-Man and everything, they kind of call that that's like a precursor to a lot of like the big superhero movies. It didn't get as much notice, but I mean, it was, and I thought that when I saw it, I thought that was really just an original superhero type movie. So I was just wondering if there were any good stories that you could share about that.
Yeah, that was like the first, I think, well, no, it wasn't the first big budget movie I did. It was the first sort of mainstream, no, it wasn't even the first mainstream Hollywood movie I did. It was just a movie I did, okay. So, but what I remember most about that movie was the late Larry Drake. Do you never know anyone who Larry Drake is? Yeah, he's kind of lost. A few people do, but his name is lost throughout through history now. Larry he's deceased now. Great guy, great actor. Larry became very, very famous in the late 1980s. He was on a show called L.A. Law, which was at that time one of the most popular shows on television, like, what's that Kevin Costner Western freaking thing? Yeah, like Yellowstone is now. It's like everyone would watch that damn thing. And Larry played a mentally challenged guy. And there were, even from film critics around America, they said, how dare you put a man who cannot think well in a part? That is cruelty. They wanted the show canceled. They petitioned NBC because they thought they put a mentally challenged guy and didn't pay him anything, like just wandering around. That's how effective Larry Drake was. Larry Drake's one of the smartest people in the world. He is not mentally challenged, as it happens. Larry taught me on that set everything I needed to know that they never taught me in theater school. So Larry was like, okay, here's what you do between takes. Here's how you leave your trailer when you leave. This is how you treat the second assistant director. This is where you should be parking. And all these things, like during those, month and a half, he really was like a mentor that, you pray that you get once in your life. So that's what I remember most about it. He's also just a fucking great actor, and I'm just sorry he's gone, We're all lesser for it, no doubt about it. Any other questions? Yes,
down there?
Sir.
Along with you being collaborator brother, I want to ask about another collaborator brother has, the 1973 Delta 88. I was just wondering what the origins of that was and how that came to be in all your brother's movies.
Shit, man, I don't know. I have no idea. You have to ask him. I couldn't answer that. I just know that belonged to my dad. Then he gave it to my mom. And once that was an old piece of shit, she gave it to my brother. That's how cars go in families. There's really nothing that exciting about it. I don't know why he's so attached to that car. Still is. I mean, it was ugly then. Right? I mean, it's one thing to be like, oh, I didn't really notice that, say, 1957 Plymouth Fury in 1957. Then you get to be like 1978, and you're like, wow, this is a cool car. But I remember being a little kid going, that is one ugly-ass car. Like, I really thought my dad had bought an ugly car. And it's still ugly. It might be cool, just in kind of like a headband, dope-smoking, Eagles-listening kind of a way. But that's about it. Who else? Yes, you, miss. Yes.
You were talking about Bad Play earlier, and we were just wondering...
What was I talking about?
Bad Play, how it just keeps going on.
Yeah.
We were wondering if you have a favorite play that you've ever seen or been in or read.
Oh, my God, yeah. I love theater, man. I love it. I think not to be... Oh, my God, there's so many great plays. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, let's take drama. I mean, the one that I can watch over and over and over again. Oh, God, there's a lot of them. But, all right. All right, so it's like asking me my favorite movie. It's just really hard to answer that question. So, honestly, and I'm not trying to sound like some kind of Harvard douchebag here, but Macbeth, when it's done well, it is the most magnetic play in the world. From start to finish, all 2.5 hours of that thing, I am transfixed. When it is done badly, it is like root canal and spinal tap at once. It's just unbelievable. I also really like Ghosts by Henrik Ibsen is amazing, just as far as classics are concerned. Just absolutely magnetic, like sucks you right in. And then I also, in like more modern sense, comedies, though it's completely gone now and no one ever redoes it. One of the greatest theatrical comedies I've written is a play called The Foreigner by Larry Shue. And I doubt you'll ever get a chance to see it. They never made it into a movie. Shue never wanted the rights to go to film, so it's gone. But do read it. It's absolutely brilliant. So that's my favorite there. Favorite one I ever saw? God, did I see? I saw the playwright David Mamet's Oleana in New York, probably like 1990, like greatest thing I ever saw. And the damn thing was an hour and a half, and it felt like literally 5 minutes. Like it was that good. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, got time for one more question. You're going to be headed back to your table to sign after this?
Yes, I will be back at the table. Yes, to say hello to everybody and all that jive.
So we'll get your question.
Have you ever taken anything off of any of the sets of movies or theater that you've done?
Yeah, I'm a fucking thief. Of course I'll steal and everything I can. You ought to check your wallet, man. That shit's gone right now. No, I don't really take things from sets, though I do always ask politely if it's I didn't used to do this, but now I ask the costume department and production if I can have the costume. Because that's what I like to keep. That reminds me of stuff, And sometimes now that I've gotten to be a more recognizable celebrity, I will ask for a prop that I use, because usually the director likes to keep the cool ones, But in this movie I just did, Failure, that I star in, this indie drama thriller, the two most prominent props that I've got is this rather dour-looking suit, which I kept, and a baseball bat, which I beat people to death with. And so I kept both of those. But yeah, I keep those. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, I'm generally a thief. That's true. No. Who else has a question? Anybody? Anybody? Oh, that was it. Was that the only one?
Well, I got one final question.
Sure.
How is it different working with your brother as a director than with other directors? There's a fairly similar experience, or there is any kind of difference?
Oh, no. It's, it just depends on the director that I'm assigned to or work with or chosen to work with. Depends. No, it's very nice. Of course, my brother's, I think he's a very, very talented director. He's excellent with actors, so it's quite a pleasure. And I suppose the advantage is because we grew up together, I know his tastes, I guess perhaps a little better than other actors might. And so I will be able to guess with a reasonable amount of certainty whether he liked that take or didn't like that take. I'm sometimes wrong, of course, but so sometimes if I do recall a few times we were shooting and I would finish something and I'd be like, let me do it again. And he'd be like, yeah. As opposed to like, would you mind doing that again? So usually I know if he something he would have, I think, appreciated.
Well, thank you so much for coming out and doing this.
Thanks for saying
Ladies and gentlemen,
appreciate it.
You know him, you love him. Give it up for Ted Raimi. Headed back to his table to do some signing. First Q&A of the day. Great job, everybody. Thank you, Ted.